So let's talk a little bit about flashpoints in SWTOR. I've been just randomly queuing for flashpoints, and I've been seeing a trend. There's so many weird team makeups in this game. I've seen so many times that whenever I try to queue as a DPS, it seems like everybody is only queuing DPS, and it's almost as if no one really cares about healing or tanking in this game. I know in a lot of cases DPS can land up being a big deal when you just smash through the mobs really fast, but the problem with random grouping is that a lot of times if you get a low level person, then it can end up slowing you down because they're not, the gear isn't optimized, they don't have as much abilities as a level 75 would, that kind of stuff. So I've noticed a lot of times getting into these flashpoints that the moment the little queue thing pops up, there would be somebody that always declines. And I know the reason why they decline is, one, they don't see a healer or a tank, and two, the levels of the people that are in the group. So it's been pretty interesting getting into these flashpoints. And I know that this is something that's pretty normal for MMORPGs. There's a lot of times where, you would have the Holy Trinity, where there's always a tank, there's always a dedicated healer, and there's always the 2 or 3 DPS. That's usually how it goes in most MMOs. In this case, since there are classes that can kind of hybrid, you can play as a healer or a tank or a DPS or whatever, it kind of creates some issues. And in this case, I just find it weird that the matchmaking system automatically, it doesn't care if you're spec'd as a DPS or not. Just because your class is capable of healing or capable of tanking, they assume that you're just going to be able to fulfill that role, or maybe your teammates are going to try to figure it out. And in a lot of cases, when it comes to random matchmaking, this just does not work. Because, most people just want to get in there. They want to get the shit done as fast as possible. And let's talk about that real quick. Running through the mobs, that's something that I'm just so annoyed by. And I know it's because I'm trying to level up, so I'm working on killing the mobs. It's good for me because I gain XP from the mobs, and I get it. If you're level 75 and don't give a shit about killing the mobs, that's perfectly fine. But I've even seen groups of people that are in their 50s and 60s, and they're still bypassing whole areas. You know what I mean? They're doing this whole sneaking around the corner, like hugging the wall to get around mobs, and it always ends up in catastrophe because I've always seen so many cases where we're running through hordes of mobs just to get to the end, just to have 1 or 2 people die on their way to run through those mobs. So then you have to go back and clear it anyway. So it's why don't we just kill the mobs along the way? How hard is it to kill the mobs? I don't understand, especially when you have 4 DPS on the group. You would think that we have enough damage to just destroy those mobs in 2 seconds. So why are we doing this? You know what I mean? It really bothers me when I see this kind of stuff. And this kind of creates a lot of toxicity in this matchmaking system. And I know what you're saying right now. Oh, I mean, get a guild and team with your guild. I mean, that's cool and all, whatever. I mean, I do have a guild, but I haven't really, cared to, do anything with them yet because I'm just not in that mindset. I like to matchmake. I'm a solo player. I'm very casual, so I'm all the negative, the most negative shit you could ever possibly imagine in an MMORPG. So I'm that stigma. But the thing with, all this, I really think about the mindset of the players that are playing this. And a lot of times they're trying really hard to just get it over with instead of just enjoying the ride. You know what I mean? I thought we were doing this because we're trying to not only gain loot, but to also gain XP and to also finish your weeklies and whatever other shit you're trying to do. Why can't we just enjoy the ride? You know what I mean? I don't understand how hard it is to kill the mobs along the way. Why are we jumping around shit? The problem with these group setups that is always pure DPS, and that's why it got me into this mindset of oh, I gotta play a healer or I gotta play a tank because I feel like no one ever is gonna fulfill those roles properly. Recently I just started playing healer, and in this gameplay here I'm playing healer. I'm having a pretty decent time healing, and I've started to work on my build a little bit, so it's pretty relevant for the level I'm at. you know, and I'm starting to see the, you know, the positives of being a healer. Of course, you know, it gets scary sometimes when you have like, you know, 3 other DPS or whatever, just kind of like getting aggro all over the place. Like it gets kind of rough sometimes. But if there's like one person that could dedicate being like the, you know, the first person to start the fight, you know, almost like a tank, quote unquote, then it works out pretty well. Oh, one thing I wanted to mention too, I noticed that a lot of people like to roll need on everything. And like, I don't know what MMOs they played in the past, but as far as I remember when I was playing my other MMOs, I always used to roll greed on things if I didn't need it, you know, but I still wanted the opportunity to get it if nobody else wanted it. You know what I mean? In this case, every time we kill a boss, everybody seems to, or there's always like 1 or 2 people that roll need on the crafting materials and the like the little germ looking thing. I don't know what the hell it's called. That whatever. They roll need on those things, and I just don't understand what that whole deal is. So I've gotten into the point where now I roll need on everything. As soon as I see one person rolling need on one of those materials, I roll need too. You know what I mean? Like I wait to see what everybody else is doing before I, you know, go ahead and click on greed, because I was so accustomed to hitting greed every single time, you know, in other MMOs, because, you know, you get bitched at real hard if you roll need on things you don't need. You know what I mean? So in this case, like I just don't get it, but whatever. It is what it is. Like, and then whenever a gold piece drops, it doesn't matter if it's a tank piece, a healer piece. It doesn't matter what it is. Everybody rolls need on it, and there's always that one person that bitches. Always. It happens every single time. I don't know if you guys are like seeing this shit, but it's like it seems like it's pretty normal. This is just how it is every single time. Like a gold piece drops, like. It's every man for themselves, you know what I mean? Like it's pretty fucking terrible, man. Like I've got like it makes me not want to even do flashpoints anymore, at least not with random people. Like I think I'd probably be better off just doing it with just my guild alone, because it's just there's so much toxicity in the random, you know, pub groups, you know what I mean? Like it's been so weird overall, man. Like I don't know how to feel about this. Like I've been trying really hard to play as DPS. I'm having a really good time. Usually in most MMOs, I play as a healer always, because I know that I want to fulfill that role of being a healer. So I know if I'm good at healing, then I won't have to worry about trying to find a team or waiting forever in a queue, you know, all that typical MMO stuff. In this game, though, it's very different. So like you queue as a DPS, the game assumes that since I also have a healer spec that I can also heal, which is bullshit. I feel like it shouldn't be that way. I feel like the game should matchmake automatically to know that if you have a healer spec and you pick the healer option, you should be healer. You know what I mean? Like that's what I would assume, but I guess that's just not how this matchmaking system works. So it is what it is. Whatever. I just wanted to vent a little bit about this whole thing. If you guys are playing SWTOR right now, let me know your thoughts on this whole thing. Do you guys like typically get with guilds or something and just kind of team up with friends? Because like I'm starting to see like this is kind of a problem, and it makes me not want to even attempt to even try to do the operations or the other group content stuff, because I kind of feel like it would be a problem outside of a guild, you know? But anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next video. All right, later, y'all.